is a Thursday, and you know what that means. It's a men's corner show with yours truly, DJ Sodza.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. You are listening to DJ Sodza live on Simnet Radio.
Right, Zimbabwe, ndozvazvinoita Zimbabwe. It's very interesting here. Right, it's 2 minutes after the hour of 10, and we are live. Kunoku United Kingdom. Tichikuchingamidzai kumativi mana ese enyika pachirongwa chenyu the men's corner. Now, a couple of things to say. It has been a pleasure actually. Ndichinzwa zvakazviri kuitwa namukoma GV3 during our absence for these 3 weeks that takati sipo. I tried to listen ndiri kuZimbabwe, but if you ask sekuru vanokuudzai kuti mabhandu anenge ari kutonga ikoko. Anyway, ndakanzwa kuti chirongwa chakachiri kufamba zvekufaya zviya izvi. Thank you so much mukoma GV3 for holding out, and also would like to extend my thanks to the panelists vakanga vachiuya vachibatsirana namukoma GV3. You know yourself, guys. Thank you so much. I cannot thank you enough. I know that in the diaspora sometimes it's very difficult to get even 10 minutes to spare to come on air here to share your thoughts nemangoma Zimbabweans. Thank you so much for that. Right, Rizne, Isusu, we are back, and I hope the show is gonna go smoothly tonight, because I was having troubles earlier on, but I'm hoping that things are going to go smoothly. Sally, can you pray for us there? Kuti zvinhu zvifambe zvakanaka panapa zvisati tiri nepamwe paya. But anyway, ndoda kuchingamidza. Sally, welcome to the show.
I've got a candle burning, and I told the Tokolosh to get lost.
That's very kind.
I mean, when you phoned me, my whole Skype just crashed. So, I mean, I don't know.
Anyhow, Sally, thank you so much. Thank you.
Welcome back, my Sekuru, and thank you very, very much, GV3, for hosting the show. It was great. We had a ball. Thank you very, very much. And good evening, Zimbabweans, wherever you are. If you're in Cape Town, the mist is thick. So please drive slowly and don't walk in dark areas by yourselves, please, ladies. Okay, I'll shut up now.
Thank you so much. Mkoma Wilbert, welcome to the show.
Hello, sir. Welcome you. Wakati Gramsoro Mbudzirewe.
Well, everything is there. Sekuru vachatipa mbudzi inotsika, so I'm hoping to share that with you.
Well, I'm sorry.
Okay, all right. No, that's fine. That can be arranged. Welcome. Makasara zvakanaka here. I hope kuti makabatsira mukoma GV3 and everything went smoothly here.
He did a really good job, and welcome back to you as well. But the show, I think you had set him up very well, and so he had no problems at all.
Fabulous.
Well, he had minor problems, but that wasn't his problem. It was technical.
Technical problem. Okay, no, that's fine. Thank you so much, Mkoma Wilbert. Now, Sekuru, are you there?
Ininiga.
Yes.
Diriti.
Sekuru, I've got a few things I want to discuss with you live on air, but would you like to greet our listeners before we go any further?
Vatereri veSimnet Radio makadi kunyika dzese dzamunogara tadzoka zvakare muno munyika yakwini. Zvinonakidza kudhiraivha usinganzvengi potihol wedu we.
Tatenda zvangu sekuru. Now, for those of you guys who follow this show a lot, I always have a banter na sekuru panapa, and we had a bet that about football, that Tottenham are going to, I say Tottenham are going to finish well above Arsenal this season, and Sekuru denied it, and we had a bet. Sekuru, would you like to tell our listeners akawina ndiani, and when are you going to give me my God?
I did my ATM of Zimbabwe. I would do got you for so Panabuda Mbudzi. Please. Aga win and things grow and Sodza. Aga win and Mbudzi. Do an end up at ATM, do banana tire. Do my Pamudam calling.
Yeah, but you have to go to Moyo. Moyo is the CEO of the Mbudzi Bank, Sekuru.
Anyhow, thank you so much.
Mbudzi asodza yakanga yakatosungwa kumusha uku iri mudanga iye ndokuisiya kumhanya kuenda kunotema chibage kumba kwatezvara vake handina mbona zvadarei. Anyway, chikuru chacho chimwe chembudzi, dzimwe mbudzi dzatakati taurayira vanhu vakatadza kudzipidza takatouya nechimukuru chacho. Saka ndongasodza achadzika kuno kuzombotora chimwe chimukuru chacho. Bhandi yake mhenyi iriko.
Aiwa, no sekuru, kumushaka ndakuziva zvizi chandinetsi. Kungopinda motikari mangu ndosvika kumusha ndobata mbudzi yangu. I've got no problem with that now.
No problem at all. You are always welcome, Zuguru.
Anyhow, guys, what happened? Me and Sekuru went to Zimbabwe, and Sekuru was thrown a huge party. A huge party. I've never seen such a party. It was well organized. People were enjoying, and I went there and we had a wonderful time. But actually, on a serious note, when I was driving from Pandawana to Harare, I just thought to myself, how nice is this for people to gather pasinarufu where there's no funeral? Because you see, we tend to gather when there's, in sadness, where there's funeral. But this was a gathering of absolute joy, enjoying, dancing. And I saw Sekuru, you posted a video of me dancing there. I was very embarrassed, actually. I don't know who took that video. It should never have existed.
That was a good dance.
No, it wasn't. All he was worried about was his feet. His wife was there looking at him so nicely, and all he's looking at is his feet.
It was raining. It was raining.
It doesn't matter. His wife was looking at him so lovingly. And all he's doing is looking at his feet.
Sally, I thought you'd say that. Yeah. Anyhow, honestly, that's what I thought, Sekuru Kuti. It is nice to have such parties, in happiness, not always to meet in sadness.
No, it was a pleasure hosting you, Muzukuru, and it was nice that you brought your brother and your wife. It was so nice. It was. I felt so humbled by the love and the oneness, the togetherness. It was so good. Yeah. I can relive that over and over and over again.
Anyway, thank you so much, Sekuru. I hope you had a lovely journey back.
Coming back was not a problem. It's just that because we are a little bit poor, we tend to use these airlines that take 36 hours to come from Zimbabwe to here.
Next time, Sekuru, you tell me, I'll book you the one that goes straight. You don't go to what I took, 14 hours, 15 hours, that's it.
Well, we used to have our own air Zimbabwe from here direct to Harare. But because of this Gogon, we is sleeping in bed there.
Ndozvazvinoita Sekuru kufara zvedu. Wapedza gai kuchikamidzei pachirongwa, wapedza makasimba here.
DJ Sodza Makadi, welcome back.
Thank you so much, Wapepe. We want to thank you for staying pasho na mkoma GV3 and helped through.
Yeah, chirongwa ndechedu.
Aiwa, no pano kudzwa makada kuchingamidza vateereri.
Sally, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Elliot.
Good. Sekuru out there.
Shout to Mr. Pepe.
Oh, Bet, how are you?
How are you, handsome? I'm fine, man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. Makadi vatereri kumati mana enyika kwese kwa muri. Thank you very much, DJ Sodza, and welcome back.
Okay. Aiwa. Thank you so much, Vapepe. Right. Okay. Now, it's 12 minutes after 10. You know, we want to discuss some serious issues here, but sometimes we want to, you know, be a little bit fun and discuss things that are happening around us. Now, the first thing I want to say is that thank you so much for those who voted for me. As you know, on Saturday, this is Zimbabwe Achievers Awards. Finals are going to be held in London, and the winners are going to be, you know, given their trophies and all that. I'm told it will be a wonderful occasion there on Saturday. So hopefully, Makavota and my name will be called on there as well. But this name, shortage of cash in Zimbabwe. Sekuru, Makamuriko Zimbabwe, you saw what was happening. I didn't have the courage to start taking video of all the queues that I was seeing in the banks there. You know, I felt bad. You know, these retired people, whether they are getting any money from these banks, I don't know. I went to Chitungwiza shopping center there, and there's a post office, and I saw a lot of elderlies, you know, sleeping on there, waiting for the post office to be open. You know, a big queue, and they're sleeping there, and I'm wondering, Jesus, is this how things are working now in Zimbabwe? All my banks, my queues, they are very long queues. And I'm told today, kuti kwanzi ma tobacco farmers, vazonga vakumutsa chambanja, vari kuti aiwa, takatengesa fodya dzedu, mari yedu iripo, tipei mari yedu, and the banks are saying they've got no cash. Even my bond notes acho, akuchina, there is no cash whatsoever. Some are saying that maybe it's because and people are paying money, but really, can that make the company not, the whole country not have cash at all? Amen. The second thing is, I called Zimbabwe Wanakuti. We are celebrating May Day. Musawa 1 May and Workers' Day. Workers' Day? Really? Are there any workers in Zimbabwe? I wonder. Probably 95% are going to work, but 95% I don't think they're going to work. Why should people celebrate this day? Should it be a holiday at all? I don't know. And today, you heard what the president had to say. Really having the courage to say that Zimbabwe is the second developed country in Africa. Only second to South Africa. Do you agree with the president? What is it?
Yes.
I've got 3 issues here that we want to talk about. Which one would you like to kick off with?
I think I'll talk. I'm happy if you give me any issue.
Oh, okay.
So
now can you? Okay, let's start with the shortage of cash. I saw it firsthand, and Sekuru saw it firsthand. I saw it firsthand in Mkoma Pepe. People sleeping, papa, you know, pa ATM, ku Zimbabwe. Not zokuti anzi zomba newspaper kana kuti kudi firsthand.
Yeah, I think I can reflect back when we started the program, Ninya bond notes, and then the governor of Reserve Bank and also Chinamasa, the Minister of Finance, they are introducing about 200 million of bond notes. And I think I did also allude to the fact that, look, 200 million, that's nothing. That's a chicken feed. That's a change. This is actually less than an amount which people who have looted, like Anachiangwa, right? Anakasguere, Anachombo. It's money that they have in the bank account. And you are celebrating to say 200 million is going to be injected in the economy. You know, that's 200 million, that's nothing. And we knew very well. Actually, I think I made it very clear that I don't think that the 200 million was thought through as a solution to the cash crisis. There is an underlying reason why they made that decision, is that they are trying to then say once they've operationalized it, they are going to print more of those bond notes for elections. And this is exactly what they are going to do, because they are saying, yes, we have introduced so much in the economy, it has disappeared. We are going to print more. And then the question is, where does that spiral end? How more is more, and where are we going to end? And we are going to see a lot of bond notes in the name. Mind you, the people who have got those monies, the bond notes that were injected in the economy, are the politicians. Because it is the politicians that runs the economy of Zimbabwe. It is the politicians who own the only currently operating businesses because of allegiance to the government and networking. So those are the people who are benefiting from that money. And this is a smoke screen. This shortage of cash we are having, it is also a deliberate ploy by the same politicians who are ZANU-PF. So yes, it is not surprising that we've got shortage of cash, shortage of even the bond notes. When they were introduced to specifically to deal with the shortage. So, but what we are saying is, here is a scenario whereby I don't know who in the country was entrusting the government of Robert Mugabe's ZANU-PF as having come up with a solution that is going to address issues in Zimbabwe. The time to trust ZANU-PF to deal with an issue is gone. Not after 37 years. And I've always said in this program that nothing what ZANU-PF is capable of doing positively, which they haven't tried and failed.
Okay, vafeve regai ndimbobvunza wamwe ndoda kudzoka pamuri manje with a different question to the cash crisis solution, so that maybe you can tell us the solutions that we can have for Zimbabwe to try and rectify this cash shortage. But ndisandadaro grandende pana sekuru apa. Sekuru,
yebo mzukuru wangu,
you saw it firsthand. How bad is the situation?
Inini ndakaenda kubengi kamwe in my life ku Zimbabwe, ndakapedza 4 weeks, ndiko ndakaenda 1 day. Handina kutombosvika pakaunda pacho because I was so fed up with what I saw happening. The people who are paying in money or depositing money, they actually move around the queue and say, are you depositing? Are you depositing? Are you depositing? If you are depositing, you are pulled to the front of the queue. And they deposit your money because they don't have the cash to give the others that want to withdraw.
Yes.
And then I said, this is bullshit. How can we... How can I wait for somebody's money so that he won't have his money? He's depositing money, but he is not depositing money. He is actually giving me his money through the bank. Why shouldn't he just give me the money if he likes? He should just give me his money and then I go. And then I was told I was going to get 50 bond notes, divided into half in coins and half in notes. I said, is that what you are queuing for? And they said, yes. I said, you people must be crazy. How can you queue? How can you queue to get 50 bond notes, 25 in notes,
Yes.
and 50 in coin, 25 in coin? Do you know how heavy 25 dollars of coins is? It's probably 2 kgs. How do you carry that kind of coins? Said we got small bags. I said you can have it. So I had to devise a means of withdrawing money without going into the bank queue. And the way that I was using was I was drawing my money from here via Western Union as I was sending myself money. So that I go and collect the cash in US dollars. And when they saw me paying in US dollars, they were actually coming to me to say, hey, don't use that money. Give us that money, give you the bond notes. I said, no. I'm not here to do your banking. I'm here to do my transaction.
Sekuru, yeah. It is interesting actually, Sekuru, to have an insight because they've not gone back to Zimbabwe for many, many years and they just read my newspaper and whatnot. Sekuru, if you go in the supermarket, I got so fed up because I'm very kind to people in nature. And first time I got there, buying mama some groceries and you go in okay there. The food is there. And you always and you go, you see a lot of people going around you, asking you, Mukoma, are you paying the cash? Are you paying the cash? Are you paying the cash? And at first,
that's right for you. That's right for you.
I took my kids to chicken in, and I'm trying to buy them pizza, chicken, and chips. And the people are asking me, "Are you paying cash? Are you paying cash?" What on earth is going on?
I said to these people, you people are so ill-mannered. How can you ask me how I am paying? I mean, it is none of their business, is it? But the thing is, they are so short of cash. They would rather collect you, especially if you are using the US dollar.
Yes.
They would rather have your US dollar and they swipe their card and be charged premium for their card, as long as they've laid hands on your US dollar. So it's hard to imagine if you've never been in that situation. It's so difficult to do business because the swipe machines themselves are so slow and they are waiting to pay in cash. So the teller, the till operator is taking time with this swipe machine. The network has gone down because it's poor network. I think the fastest you can get is about 3 Gs on those machines. So really, I don't know how these people are surviving. To be quite honest with you, I don't know. But I don't want to survive like that.
No, Sekuru, it is very, 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 very difficult, very frustrating. I mean, you sit there and you think, is this how people are living in Zimbabwe? How are these people surviving? You go home, you ask your mama, how do you guys survive? They will laugh at you and say, this is reality. This is how we survive. And we've learned to accept it. How can you accept to go to the bank and be given $50 in coins? You was given $50 in coins. I'm coming Benford. Right. Hey. Mukoma Benford.
Comma Benford, can you sort your mic, please? The noise, you cannot broadcast here. Oh God. Right. Sorry about that, Zimbabwe. Let me try and remove Mkoma Benford completely from our list here. Then tozotaura kuseri kuti wagadzirisa zvinhu zvauri kuita uko. Because hey.
How? Vane nharo.
Right, okay, yeah. Damboa Visa Bijan. Right, okay, Sekuru, are there any other things that you notice there that really you cannot live with those kind of situations?
The potholes, Muzuguru, my potholes, I got the corner. Dakasha, is this the same country that I left in 2013? Because I was last day 2013. And what I saw on the roads and what I left behind in 2013, it was quite an experience. It was shocking. The only road that was maneuverable is the airport road. The rest, there's no way to describe them. It's just holes everywhere. Where they've tried to patch, it's so rough, the car can go any direction. And I ask myself, how much do these people waste in terms of tires, in terms of shock absorbers, and in terms of the front suspension and the CV joints? It must be a fortune. Then the other thing, the main thing that really got me pissed off was the roadblocks and those spikes. I could not believe at every roadblock you are stopped. They ask you about reflectors. All the modern cars have got reflectors in the back and at the front. They still ask you for their own type of reflector. I couldn't understand it. I just said, why are you asking me about things that are actually inbuilt on the car? Why are you asking me about that? And they say, no, we need these extra ones, and you go to pay, because you don't have them, you've got to pay $30. I said, how much do they cost to buy this? It's $1 a meter of the, it's $1 a meter. And then they want you to pay $30.
Yeah, interesting, babe.
And the way they treat you at a roadblock, they stop you, they tell you got this faults on your car, and they say, yeah, I know them, but I can't do anything about it right now. Can you give me a ticket because I don't have the cash, because there's no cash? Then they say, no, you swipe. I say, no. I don't stay here. I don't have a swipe card. I don't have anything. I don't have cash. I don't have a swipe card. So you give me a ticket and then I come and make good my account. They say, no, stop there. Wait there. 1 hour you are waiting and they have not talked to you just to break you down. Eventually when you say, okay, take me to the police cab, then if you can't resolve my problem, they say, you go. How is that? How can you treat a person like that? The person is doing business and you make them wait for 1 hour. They lose 1 hour this time. And then eventually you don't charge them with anything. You just say go.
No, Seguru, I know Zhang Seguru, I mean, Imimi, you don't tolerate those things. In Zhang personally, I go there all the time. And I noticed that all they are asking for, roadblock yega, they want your license, they want my reflectors, my triangle, and no reflector, both sides. They want a fire extinguisher, they want a spare wheel. Those four, ukanga unazo, those are vanongobvunza every roadblock you get. Those are vanongobvunza shit. So I said to myself, right, I'm driving a car. Let me have these four things in my car and see what happened. Because last time I had to pay money for them. But this time, not a single penny I paid them, because I just said, right, I'm not going on the road without these things. Let me go and get myself those triangles. Let me go and get myself that fire extinguisher. Make sure that my car has got a spare wheel. And I've got my license. And the license, right, aritogari muwallet. Ndaitogara ndakatorisa padoo chaipo kudai. Paanongokumisa chete anenge license every single minute. Ungodai. And I didn't have any problem. In terms of delay or kumiswa, yes. But in terms of kuti ndakamiswa an hour, no. Because I had all those things.
But in Mzuguru, there's a license to drive a car. I've stayed here in the UK for now 12 years. I've never been asking the license. I drive every day.
Yes.
Not small distances. I'm talking about driving 250, 300 miles every day.
Yeah.
I've never been asking for my license. I've never been stopped at a roadblock. But why is it that when I go to Zimbabwe, I'm stopped 10 times and asking for a license? And I tell them I don't have a license. And they look at me and they say, why? I say, because my license is in the UK. And they say, you shouldn't be driving here. And then they say, go. Well, what is that now? Why are they asking for that license now? And then you say, okay, I don't have this license, I don't have the money to pay. They say, let's go to the police. The policeman jumps into your car, and then you drive them, and then you take them to the police camp, and they go and charge you for these things. And they say, okay, can I see the officer commanding? Right. This man, he says, I can't drive without a license, but he jumped in my car, I drove him here. What does he think he was doing? He was riding on a car being driven by an unlicensed driver. How do they do that?
Right. Thank you so much, Sekuru. Is there anything else that bothered you that you might want to share?
The quality of life of the people is sickening, actually. Sometimes you think you are poor and you are suffering, and when you look at the others in Zimbabwe, when you look at your family, friends, and everybody, you then think you are too rich, you know. You just feel it that you are too rich to complain. Because the quality of life, the way they live, just the general standard of living, it's appalling. I was so touched by the old women and the disabled people trying to push their way into queues, and there's no facilities for them. There's no special facilities for them.
Right. But quality of living, Sekuru, Zimbabwe, it is appalling. But I think we kind of exaggerate. I know what you are saying, Sekuru Kuti. I always tell people, Kuti, just be thankful of what you have. Just to have a roof over your head. People take these things for granted. These little things for granted. Some people are...
Clean water,
yes.
Just clean water.
Just
that for granted.
Yes.
You open a tap and there's brown water coming out there.
Yes. And how
you smell it. I don't want to say the word, but it smells like that.
Yeah, it smells like that, Sekuru. But you see, this is the thing. But I just wonder, sometimes when we go there, because we compare the situation that we find ourselves in diaspora, things are not perfect in diaspora, but if you compare the two, there's so much difference. And those people in Zimbabwe, that's the life they know. It's like someone who is born blind. Those people never complain. But those people who have been, who have had the privilege of seeing, and then at a later stage they can't see. It's hard to take. And you see, some people want to take their lives because they cannot imagine living a life without seeing. But someone who knows one thing will think, that is the best I've got. So that's what I'm trying to, I try to understand the way they live. Because Zimbabwe, well, that's their life, and that's the life they know. And they don't know any better. So they accept it and move on with it. But what I cannot understand is for those people to go and vote for somebody who is causing them to do that. I just don't understand it. Anyway, some people might be living big there and they think, well, we are fine. I don't know. But anyway, Sekuru, thank you so much for that. Zimbabwe, sorry tatora time yenyu kumbokudzaiwo zvimwe zvinhu zvatakaonawo zvichiitika mustreet kuZimbabwe that we thought we might share with you the things. What about the good things, Sekuru? Any good things that you encounter?
The good thing is the space and the sunshine. It's in abundance. And the space. And the friendliness of the people. In their poverty, they are so welcoming. They are so happy. You wonder. Where do they get this gift from? How do they become so friendly in this misery? But they are so welcoming. They are so good. They are so helpful. And one other thing that I noticed is that the young generation is no longer in the game of stealing, like this business of snatching things away from people or something like that. No, they don't do it like that now. They do it the sophisticated way. You buy a small thing from them, they will make you buy 10 times what you are supposed to buy.
Now, Sekuru Inini, one of the massive positive I found Zimbabwe when I got there. You see, the moment I land, driving from airport there, ndakaona kuti it's a bumper harvest. It's a bumper harvest. Chikafu chiri kuZimbabwe, Sekuru, it's incredible. It's incredible. Vanhu vakarimira zvesoto.
Yes, that is a true reflection of what is on the ground. Those that put in effort have been rewarded with good rains and with the bumper harvests. What I don't know is how are they going to get money out of that harvest, because there's no money.
This is the problem. But what I was telling vanhu zvangu close relatives, you know what? Remember last year, there was no harvest. And vanhu vanga vari kufa nenzara. What you can do, if you can get mushonga wekuti, waisa mudura, you put your stuff, you put them away, and you are good to go for 3 years. If there's no rain in the next 3 years, those guys are fine because it's incredible. Everything, kuti nzungu, kuti manyimo, kuti chibage,
amananga,
murodi kutengesa vakuti hanzi dhora for unobva wapuhwa, I don't know, unopuhwa svinga rese kunzi chienda naro svinga rese
repwa.
But anyway, that was one of the positives that I found. But other than that, it's doom and gloom, isn't it, really?
Other than that, it's a life that nobody would do. You yearn to live. I don't think they like to live like that, but they are so used to it. It's like the abnormal has become the norm.
Incredible. Anyhow, Mukoma Benford. Right. Waramba wari pamaipa. Muripo ya?
Yeah, bakundizwa.
Tata mama mboita dambudziko ka.
Yeah, amene zvanga zvichiitika industry kuzinga.
Yeah, but tiri kuzvinzwa kunoku it was terrible actually. Makasimba here?
Tinosvinura isi makafamba zvakanaka ere.
Aiwa, isi tiri right. So thank you so much for joining us, Mukoma Benford, and also thank you for joining us, for joining Mukoma GV3 last 3 weeks. I heard kuti makamu batsira.
No, ndizvozvo chirongwa ndecheduka ichi.
Ndechedu
hachifaniri kufa.
Aiwa, ndatenda zvangu Mukoma Benford. Batai makadaro. Sally.
Yes, DJ Sodza.
Yes, Sally, you have heard what Sekuru have had to say, and myself, we had a good time. But anyway, I want to talk about the money shortage a little bit. It's terrible out there. Have you got anything to say about that?
No, I mean, I knew it was terrible.
Yeah, you knew it was coming, didn't you?
Yeah, I knew it was coming. I knew how bad it was because I mean I've got family there. Okay.
Yes.
Look, it was coming, and the problem is it's going to get worse, and then it's going to be used to the advantage of ZANU-PF come election time. Okay. The only way that this ever is going to end, okay, is they have to. I'm going to be nice, okay.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Yeah, please be nice. Be nice for once, Sally.
If ZANU-PF has the balls to get rid of the old guard and the corrupt, okay, and the young people that are knowledgeable and have got the, I'm going to say it again, the balls, okay, to take it on. And they can turn the country around, okay. They can, if they wanted to, but they haven't wanted to for 37 years. I mean, I have been begging ZANU-PF, what you call them, the ZANU-PF people, to stand up and be counted and sort out the leadership and hold them accountable and get rid of them and confront them, whatever, okay? But no, nobody wanted to do anything, and now we're sitting with this, okay? And come 2018, what's going to happen? We already know ZANU-PF is going to win. It's already there. They've already organized it. The victory is there for them. So it's going to be the same thing all the time. Do you know what hurts me? Okay, it hurts me to my core when I hear you and Sekuru talking and what the people have come to accept. Why? Why must they accept that? Why must you accept a crumb of bread, okay, when you can eat a whole loaf plus? Why? Why must that be the normal? Aren't you a human being? Don't you have the rights to have a normal life where you turn on a tap and there's decent drinkable water coming out of it? And you go to switch your lights on and they actually come on and don't burn out everything? Where when you go to recharge your pay-as-you-go phone for more juice, like we call it, okay? You don't have to rob a bank and the bank's uncle and the bank's auntie just to get maybe 10 or 15 minutes of airtime, if you're lucky. I mean, it's completely and utterly unacceptable. Unacceptable. Finished. How how do you expect people that aren't working to pay for airtime that lasts, what, 10 minutes? I mean, what do you want them to do to get that money? The whole system is cockeyed. I'm just thankful that I don't go to Zimbabwe, because true as living, I'd be arrested. I would be arrested. Sekuru had his time, I would be a million times worse. And the main thing is, I am white, so I would stand out very much. Okay. So I would be arrested, and that would be it. Because to abuse people the way that people are being abused, and they're accepting it, it cracks me up. It breaks my heart. It breaks me.
Okay, right.
Okay, I'm finished ranting.
Okay, Sally, we'll come back to you shortly there with other questions that we want to ask. Mukoma Wilbert, thank you so much for waiting very patiently there. I'm sure, Mukoma Wilbert, you've talked a bit about this. You thought it was coming, isn't it? This money shortage, but I personally didn't think it was that bad until I was on the ground. I never went to the bank like what Sekuru did. I've got no business there, and I was never going to go to the bank. I had no business whatsoever in the Bank of Zimbabwe there. But Sekuru managed to go there and see what it is. But all I could see was the queues in every cash machine. Pango kudaka $2 cheti. The queue would just meander within 2 minutes. Pane 150 or miramu queue. You know, and waiting there for 4 or 5 hours. Then after that, Zonzi amusisina mari, and all the cash machine is only giving $10, and that's it. I mean, what's your take on this, Mukoma Wilbert?
Well, the bond notes were not going to work because you've got to there to balance here. If they printed enough bond notes to meet the demand, it was going to bring back inflation, because as soon as people get more of the bond notes, they would want to convert them to US dollars. And then when you get the US dollar and you can't get the bond notes, it means the value of the two currencies one will be more valuable because it's scarce, and the other one is more available. So it was a situation where they had to make sure that the bond notes are kept, the supply of the bond notes is kept in check. But then it doesn't solve the problem they had originally intended to solve, which is the cash shortage. The real solution really was they should have addressed the issue of resuscitating the country's industry so that we can start producing our own goods and then selling them to get foreign currency, and also reducing our dependence on buying things outside the country using foreign currency. That is the problem. But I agree with what thev was saying there, that this problem is suddenly going to disappear towards the elections. Because what people must realize is that ZANU-PF is running two parallel systems. While the formal government that we all talking about, Minister of this, Minister of Health, Minister of Education, and so forth, they are all running out of money. The informal government, which is the Joint Operations Command, they are filthy rich. That is one of the things that some people forget. They are looting diamonds in Marange, Chiadzwa, and accumulating billions of dollars. I mean, there is documentary evidence showing that my Mujurine, the elect husband, alone at one point tried to sell diamonds worth $15.8 billion. So, and they were not the only ones stealing. All the others were stealing as well, including Mugabe himself. And they're going to use some of that diamond loot to bankroll the elections. And therefore, some of these problems are going to suddenly disappear. There will be plenty of money in the country, and everybody will think, oh, the good times are back again. And as soon as NOPF is elected, it's back where we are now. So this is the trap that we have got to be careful we don't fall into. And I think it's a sad situation that some people don't seem to appreciate it. And we are like, as if we're sleepwalking into a nightmare. I agree with Sally as well that I think it's a pity that some people, the nation as a whole, we have tended to accept the unacceptable. The situation in Zimbabwe is totally, totally unacceptable. Why should somebody have to work so hard to earn the money they have already earned? Even if it's sent from the relative in the diaspora here, why should they have to work so hard to earn those few dollars you send them? And we're talking here of some people who are so desperate in even our area, getting money to come into town, even if it's for medical reasons, is such a task, is such a chore that it is really, really difficult, And those who can drive, it's easier. You jump in your car, you can drive. But if you are somebody with no car and you've got to rely on a rural bus or whatever it is, those rural buses are not going to take you for free and say, okay, you pay us when you get to Gweru or Masvingo or wherever you're going. They want the money there and then. So I think the situation in Zimbabwe is really desperate. Mm-hmm. And people should not forget it.
Yeah, it is desperate. It's an understatement to say it is desperate. Mukoma Brentford. Mukoma Brentford. Okay. No, tukunzwa Mukoma Brentford. In a shortage of cash, I didn't know it was that bad until I saw it.
Yeah. Ndakanga ndiri kuZimbabwe muna December.
Yes.
And I know that between December and now things could have gone really bad. But pandakaenda ini, I had heard a lot of bad stories. Saka ndofunga ndakaenda mindset mangu ndichiexpecta kuona situation yanga iri very extreme.
Yeah.
So in the end, I was surprised with what I saw, maybe in the positive sense. Zokuti I wasn't andina kuseparate zvakanyanya zvikuru, and one of the things that I can agree with you that I noticed is even though people wanga, I think the people wanga vari in situations avo, they were amongst the happiest people.
Yes.
I've seen. Unoona vanhu vanenge vakasununguka vachitaridza kuti vari kufara uende kuma-rural areas. I was surprised. I was kuma-rural area kwangu, it was Muswe New Year. Mm-hmm. I saw happy people. Ndichiona vanhu kumamisha vakaisa makeup patownship. It was something different from what I expected. Now, coming to my issues, Karen, I think one of the biggest problems is our people are used to a cash economy. And they still just want to use cash. I was talking to my brother, he told me that cash crisis, he's never been to a bank. Pataka in December, he could, by that time at least, kawaitenga my groceries, ukatenga a certain amount, they would even ask you, do you need the cash back? So you are telling me at that point, all the cash you don't need for small things, you'd always get that in the supermarket when he's given a little bit of cash back. And most of the time you would use, you just fight. And what I liked the must fight cards out when I went there in December is even if I go to Europe, they could use my Visa card. How they were working there. I also even tried to use mine, although I didn't have debit card. I just I had my credit card.
Almond, snacking good.
So those were some of the positives I realized when I was there. But coming back to the proper issue, my bond notes. I think Mkoma will be touched a little bit. It's good that wakaisa mabond notes zvishoma nezvishoma isina kuwandisa because it was going to cause inflation, and that would have been a big problem. The reason why mabond notes are still working in Zimbabwe at the moment is because they are scarce as well. But when you look at that problem, it's not just a ZANU-PF problem. Last week we managed to tame inflation per term here, government of national unity. Now I was trying to tell him, no, you did not tame inflation by simply adopting the multi-currency system. And people we need to realize that was a problem that was created with no solution. Buddha said from that system. No one has a clue, no one has a solution. How are we going to leave the multi-currency system in Zimbabwe? So we cannot expect to put a Pangoane solution overnight. There's no ways about it. Put a situation in current in Zimbabwe, we need to produce. That is the only solution. There's no other solution other than production. So when people was saying takatema inflation, no, they did nothing because havana kuingiza production. And so we can't expect a miracle. It's going to get worse. At the moment, at least the tobacco will help a little bit. Because flow your foreign currency a little bit. But I think as we go on August, September, it's really going to be bad.
Alright. Chimbobatai makadaro mukoma wangu chimbopinda muchitoro. Chimbomwira mvura will be back after 2 minutes. Zimbabwe. Tabva ikoko ndinoda kubvunza vapevhe nasekuru then ndo vanga vasina kutitaura kuti what is the solution, what they think the solution is. Then after that ndoda kumbobvunzawo zvataurwa naVamugabe kuti Zimbabwe is actually the second most developed country in Africa. Has he got a point there? We want to ask that as well, Zimbabwe. Exactly a minute before 11 we get to you.
Make the whole world know about your business. Advertise with Zimnet Radio. Email marketing@zimnetradio.com.
It is a Thursday, and you know what that means. It's a men's corner show with yours truly, DJ Sodza.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. You are listening to DJ Sodza live on Zimnet Radio.
DJ or presenter? Are there times when you feel like you can do it? This is your chance to be on radio. Come join us and get the best training on how to be a professional DJ. Get in touch, email us at personnel@zimnetradio.com and fulfill your passion. Zimnet Radio, the people's choice.
Zimbabwe ndo zvazvinoita ka magitara yakaya andafarira mukoma macheso wale chipawa right zvisina tiri pa Men's Corner show patiri kukurukura zvedu nyaya yezvimwe zvinhu zvatakaona zvichiitika kuZimbabwe on the ground and trying to make sense out of it. A shortage of cash was one of the most thing that was prominent. But ndikuza kuti mukoma Benford na mukoma Wilbert na Sally, you've spoken a little bit about how we can solve the situation, but ndandisina kubvunza wapfeve nasekuru kuti how can it be solved. Wapfeve, in brief, what do you think is the solution for this?
Yeah, I think the solution here in Zimbabwe in order budget discipline. The current situation now, you just need to look at the budget. That our current budget revenue collection year is 3.4 billion. Our expenditure is 3.9 billion, which means we have got a deficit of 500 million annually. Now, we are spending what we are not generating, and that cannot continue forever. And this is where the problem is. So what we need is budget discipline. I'll reflect back Government of National Unity. During the 5 years that MDC was in Government of National Unity, that's the only 5 years we saw surplus. Up to 2013, there was actually a surplus every financial year, and that was because of budgetary discipline. And after 2013, with the government of Robert Mugabe and ZANU-PF, they've never had a surplus even for 1p since 2013. So in the short term, that is what we need. In the long term, solution that we need for Zimbabwe is that we go to what we call the Friedman theory, where we introduce the free market, where the state has nothing to do with the monetary policy other than fiscal policy, where it looks at the taxation, it looks at tariffs. And also that the government of the day would actually put in place investment-friendly policies to attract FDI, which in Zimbabwe at the moment we don't have. There's actually a discord in terms of the policies of the government. Only then can we see an influence of investment in Zimbabwe so that at the end of the day the exports outweigh the imports, in which case, unfortunately, that's not the case at the moment. An economy works on goodwill, and an economy works on trust. And even the entrepreneurs or the investors, there is a limited amount of risk that they can accept. And I think those are the two issues in terms of the long term and short term. Thank you, DJ.
Thank you so much, Vapepe. Sekuru, what solutions do you think should be there to try and rectify the dire situation?
Timbotanga tatenderana Vapepe bicha togowedzera kuti the major issue iripo chaichayo in Zimbabwe that is causing the cash shortage is a rogue government. Saka solution chaicha though the underlying cause. The solution chaicha is to remove that government and replace it with a more amenable government that knows what it takes to create money and to make it a worthy product. Because money in Zimbabwe goes to border. That is not a worthy product. It has got no value at all. You don't go and assume the value you get by equity in US dollar. But that is not how money derives its value. Money derives its value from products that are held by a country. So at the present moment, tikataura kuti izvo zvikune 2 million, ngatiti 84 million, 94 million arutaura bond notes. Ukataura kuti where is its value? Iri kunzi iri mu facility yeAfrexim Bank. Facility yacho chimbori chiko chonzi facility iri chikwereti. Chikwereti chacho chakambokwendera. How was it borrowed? There is no ratified loan of 200 million in Zimbabwe from Afrexim Bank for that. And if we had borrowed 200 million US dollars, why print another 200 bond notes to exaggerate the figure to 400 million? Why? The issue is hapana munhu unoti unokwereta munhu chikwereti. Wakwereta munhu chikwereti wonikira woviga mari yacho mubox woenda kune vamwe futi woti onyora check isina mari kuti ndichazokubhadhara ini 200 yandakaviga mubox. It doesn't work like that, does it?
No, it doesn't.
So the solution is to remove the real solution is to remove this government, Robert Mugabe, and his cronies. It is junta and dynasty cronies. That is the first thing that we must do. The second thing is to address the supply side of our economy. Where is the value of our bond paper coming from? If we do not know where it is coming from, then it is not money, Mazuda. So the best thing is for us to establish where that value is derived from. And once we have established it is derived from what, then we increase production of that. So that we create more Zim dollars or bond notes. At the present moment, we don't know where the value of that bond note is coming from. We just saying it's pegged against the US dollar, pegged by a facility.
Sorry.
Okay.
A facility which nobody knows about other than the people who are saying there is a facility. Even those people that are saying there is a facility, if you ask them, where is that facility? How was it ratified? Because it's a burden on every taxpayer's shoulders, because it's borrowed by the government on behalf of the people. So if you ask them to say, where is that facility so that I know where my tax burden is emanating from, they can't tell you, they can't show you a piece of paper or an agreement that was ratified by our parliament into that loan. So there are two things here. Pepe is right that the money derives value from goodwill. But it doesn't just get goodwill without a basis. There must be a basis for it to get goodwill. And that goodwill is not in Robert Mugabe's government. It's not there.
So your solution is to change the government straight away. That will bring about a bit of a difference to what we are having at the moment. Thank you so much, Sekuru, for that. Sally?
Yes, DJ.
Yes, Sally.
Yes, DJ Sodza.
Yes, Sally. I heard kuti Mugabe vanga vari ikoko there in South Africa, in Durban there.
Yeah, supposedly.
Yes, and he.
I mean, for a 90-something-year-old man, he does a lot of flying, and I don't know how he does it because he shouldn't be doing it at that age.
Anyway,
so
he was there, and he was saying that basically people should appreciate that Zimbabwe is the second well-developed country in Africa, only second to South Africa, and he was very passionate about it. And I went on Facebook, and a lot of people are agreeing with him that Zimbabwe is actually the second well-developed country in Africa. Personally, I've not traveled a lot in Africa for me to distinguish which one is more developed and which is which. But I don't know. From your, your thoughts, do you think he's right?
Well, the second most well-developed country in Africa, the main hospitals are buggered. He goes out the country for medical treatment. His wife goes out the country for medical treatment. When he takes his holiday, he goes out the country. Seriously, it's a decayed development because they haven't kept up with the maintenance and the repair of infrastructure. They haven't built anything new in the sense of power stations and that kind of thing. The railways used to, you could get right up to Messina, well, to the border, okay? And then you caught the South African train there, the border. There's no railways there anymore. Railway lines are used to kill people.
Okay.
So,
Sally, if I'm hearing you properly here, you're saying that it was once a second most developed, but the infrastructure that was built then is now destroyed, and you don't agree with what the president is saying now.
Well, potholed roads. I mean, does that make you the second most developed country in Africa? Potholed roads, police throwing spikes, roadblocks every 5 seconds, queues, people sleeping outside banks in queues. Does that make you the second most developed country in Africa? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, that's why I put the question to some people who are well-traveled in Africa, because I don't know. I've not been to Nigeria yet. Maybe there are even more potholes there than there are in Zimbabwe, but I don't suppose they've got all this shortage of cash that we've got. But anyhow, that's another for another day. Thank you so much, Sally. You don't agree with what the president had to say.
No.
Mkoma Wilbert, do you think he's right saying that?
Actually, the question arose after this report by Afro-Asia, which say that Zimbabweans now are the poorest people in Africa in terms of wealth per individual. And this is what Mugabe was trying to reply to. And he was talking of, we've got 14 universities, we've got one of the highest literacy rates in Africa and so forth. The truth of the matter is, I think those are some of the things that happened immediately after independence, when we did spend a lot of money on education. But now the quality of our education has gone down the tube completely, to the point where he has got the spoiled choice of 14 universities in Zimbabwe, and yet he sends his daughter and has been now sending his sons outside the country for their university studies. And all the big chefs are sending their children outside the country too. And those civil servants, party loyalists who cannot afford to send their children to school, he established this presidential scholarship where most of them are in South Africa. It's only the poor who cannot afford the school fees outside the country who are sending their children to the local universities and colleges and so forth. And what they are coming out with is absolutely unbelievable. You find somebody is graduating and he has done a PhD, and you ask him to write a sentence, and you will find every other second or third sentence there is either a spelling mistake or a grammar mistake. And as for it being coherent, that's asking for too much. That is how far our quality of education has gone. And in any case, at the end of the day, when you're looking at if we are this poor, the poorest country in Africa, what's the point of having all these graduates who, when they finish, they all go onto the street to sell airtime, and if you can't do that, you start going to South Africa, and South Africa is going to deport, and by end of this year, something like 200,000 Zimbabweans, and they are going to seal the border. So some of these graduates will be graduating out of all these universities, and they will have no jobs, and they will just pile up on the It's really an insult to the Zimbabweans, ordinary Zimbabweans, who are facing the daily hardships like you and Sekuru were talking about here.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mkoma Wilbert, for that. Mkoma Benford. Yes, Mkoma Benford, do you agree with the president?
To a certain extent, I agree with the president.
Okay, that Zimbabwe is actually the second well-developed country in Africa.
Yes, not necessarily second, but definitely we are not among the poorest.
No, we're not talking about the poorest. I'm just indicating to what he had to say, that basically we are second only to South Africa when it comes to developed countries in Africa itself.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know about being second, but I strongly feel that probably we are within the top 5.
Okay.
But regarding when you DJ Sodza, let me taura pane zvimwe zvataura navapedzi and then ndozodzoka pambunzo wenyu manje if you can give me a few minutes.
Okay.
One of my solutions are provided navapedzi vanga vachiti budget. It doesn't work. The truth of the matter is there's nothing to budget about. When 90% of the budget is going towards my salaries, civil servants, it means there's nothing to budget about here. And he mentioned that Tendai PT, that was the only time we had the surplus. Now my view is that was a false surplus. And it was a big mistake. And perhaps some of the things that we are seeing now emanated from that time we had Tendai PT. If he had a surplus, what that basically, and we're not producing, it means he was neglecting infrastructure development and other responsibilities of the government were being neglected. So maroads amuri kuona akutanga kukolapsa iko zvinezvi aifananga achimaintainiwa, and Tendai PT was not investing in those things. So you will see my effects not immediately, you will see the effects 3-4 years down the line. Okay. Now, my government with my deficit, it's not something very unique to Zimbabwe. It's all over the world. The USA government owes, federal government owes trillions of dollars. Okay.
All right. Okay.
That's what it is. And
no, that's fine.
When Kinamasa is coming to, I still facilitate borrowing money from an IMF, from a World Bank, munemchita ma meetings ku UK yuko na New York vachimubloka, and then after that it becomes a problem. Coming back to your question, DJ, about the president, where I think the president might be right, it comes to the definition poor she, and how do we calculate those things? Can the city per capita rate in Zimbabwe is so much. How do we come up with that people, with that figure? The problem is Zimbabwe, most of the things that people are doing is really from informal sector, and people are, avanya to make that what incorporated the value one. If you look at the moment in Zimbabwe, one positive thing, DJ Sodza, most people want to stand farm. They have a home. They are put in the farm. We still developing it, but in the park, so you don't see that in so many other countries. When in Africa, you don't see my shanda South Africa. So we are not at that level in Zimbabwe. So that is where I'm saying I might agree with the president that we are not as poor as people are suggesting, and we possibly
but that wasn't the question. Unfortunately, all I said was Inini. I heard him saying that Zimbabwe is second only to South Africa when it comes to developed countries in Africa. All I'm saying is I am naive and I don't know. I haven't traveled in Africa and I haven't got the statistics in front of me. Do you guys, anyone know if that is actually the truth? So you are agreeing with what the president had to say today?
What I can say is, to a certain extent, he's right. And if you DJ Sodza, I agree and we are second, because I'm not sure about that.
Okay, fine. Okay, that's fine. A message that I got here. This one is saying that, okay, DJ, we've got an official figures here. And number 1, it is South Africa. Number 2, Kenya. Number 3, Uganda. Number 4, Ghana. Number 5, Egypt. Number 6, Morocco. Number 7, Mauritius. Followed by Madagascar. Followed by Tunisia. Followed by Botswana. Followed by Namibia. I can go on. And Zimbabwe is not even in there. Thank you so much. Sekuru, do you agree with His Excellency, what he had to say today?
I was shocked. I was surprised that this man is talking about infrastructure in Zimbabwe being the second best, only to South. I was shocked because when we talk about infrastructure, we are talking about the connectivity or the network that makes the economy tick. The first one we look at is probably the transport system. Can we claim to be second only to South Africa in terms of transport system?
Well, Sekuru, one might ask you, have you traveled to countries like Kenya, like Uganda, like Egypt, like Nigeria, Madagascar, to actually, for you to be in a position to stand here and say, actually, I'm disputing what the president has had to say because I've been to these countries and they are far better than Zimbabwe. Then if you haven't got the figures, it's difficult for people to agree with you.
I can tell you straight that Dar es Salaam in Ethiopia is far better connected in terms of the transport system than we have in Harare, Bulawayo, and the rest of Zimbabwe. I can also tell you that Kenya, I was in Kenya. I was in Kenya for 8 hours only 2 weeks ago. I can tell you that just by looking at the airport, and the number of planes that are landing and leaving that Jomo Kenyatta airport, and compare them with the number of planes that are landing and leaving Harare, you can easily tell that the economy here is far, or this infrastructure is far ahead of ours. There's only one terminal. There's only one international terminal at Harare International Airport. There are over 47 at Jomo Kenyatta. The same can be said about
Dar es Salaam.
Dar es Salaam. I can also tell you that in Angola, it's in Luanda is light miles ahead of the infrastructure in Harare. Now, we are only comparing capital cities here. But it is from the capital cities that we devolve down to the other areas. Because the capital cannot be underdeveloped than any other area. We look at Rwanda. Rwanda was... we didn't even talk about Rwanda, but we now see what is in Rwanda, what is in Kigali. You can Google it. You can see for yourself. You can see it on because the communication infrastructure will help you to visualize developments in other countries. You can look at Abuja or Lagos in Nigeria. They are far advanced compared to Zimbabwe. Now, for the president to say that it is the second most developed infrastructure behind South Africa is utter nonsense. Let's look at the railway line itself. The railway lines in Zimbabwe, we used to have an electric train. What do we have now? We don't even have a coal train now. And then we say we're going to develop this infrastructure. We look at the potholed roads now. How many countries in Africa have got similar potholes in their capital city? I can certainly tell you Lusaka was like that before Chilua. But now, if you go to Lusaka, because in Lusaka they had converted tarred roads into dust roads because they couldn't just maintain the roads. But now, if you go there now, it's better looking than what you can see in Harare. Now, when we talk about infrastructure, ladies and gentlemen, let's not fool ourselves that we are talking about one thing. We are talking about the generality. If you look at our telecommunications network, are we the second best telecommunications network country in Africa? Do we beat Egypt? Do we beat Cameroon? Do we beat Morocco? Do we beat Ghana in terms of why is it that when you phone Zimbabwe, you pay the most if we are that advanced telecommunication wise? Let's look at the television broadcasting. We are still on the analog system. How many African countries are still on the analog system? Are we any better in terms of television than Mauritius. So, to me, this is a sweeping, falsified statement which degrades our understanding and our literacy rates. When we say we spend so much money in education, what kind of education did we give our people? Did we give them the education that is suitable for the 21st century development? So that our human resource base is at par with the human resource bases other countries have for the 21st century. I heard somebody says our education system is now gone down. It has always been down. It was colonial education, and then we didn't know what to do, so we just pretended we are not going to pay the British the fees, but we retained the same education.
All right.
We are taught to be employees. Other countries are teaching their people to be entrepreneurs.
Okay. Aywa, thank you so much, Sekuru. You certainly don't agree with the president. Do you have anything to agree with what the president said, that Zimbabwe is second only to South Africa when it comes to infrastructure?
DJ, I was very much shocked. We must just ignore the non-generic president with the utmost dismay he deserves. It's a group thinking of ZANU-PF, very much myopic and in self-denial of what is really on the ground. I like normally to when it comes to matters of economics, I normally prefer to talk about figures, because I think there is this notion that figures don't lie. If you look at the aggregate wealth for Zimbabwe, it stands at 28 billion. And then in Africa, South Africa is not even number one. It's actually number 3.
Who is number one?
Number one is Egypt at 1.1 trillion.
Okay.
Nigeria comes second at 1.052 trillion. And South Africa third at 736 billion.
And where is Zimbabwe in that?
No. We are not even. It's not even. Zimbabwe is not even top 20 in Africa.
Okay.
It's not far away from it. So, and then we've got Algeria, 609 billion, Morocco, 282 billion, Sudan, 176 billion, Ethiopia, 174 billion, Kenya, 152, Tanzania, 150 billion, Tunisia, 130 billion, Ghana, 120 billion, Libya, 90 billion. Even by the standard of our countries bordering Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe is the least. Zambia is at 65 billion. Botswana, 36 billion. Mozambique, 30 billion. Zimbabwe, 28 billion. So I have no idea where, this is the bush economics of ZANU-PF. I don't know whether here is a scenario, the president is going to World Economic Forum, you would expect that the economists within ZANU-PF and government would have given enough information for the president, unless if the left hand does not understand what the right hand is doing. You would expect that they will have all these figures to actually Mugabe, there was no reason why Mugabe is to defend the position of Zimbabwe, other than to appeal to investors to come to Zimbabwe, like other leaders there. Many of the president leaders there, they are not there to defend the position economically. They are there to try to woo investors into their countries. Put bare the policies that they have, that we have got the most investor-friendly policies. Come to our country. this is what you get if you come to invest in our country. Not to be dogmatic about the whole thing and dig your head into the sand like what Robert Mugabe is doing. He's still talking that bush language of 1980. So there you are, DJ. Zimbabwe has been in the top 20 of Africa.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much, vapepi. Ndosaka muripo malecturers munobva matipa mafigures apo kuitira kuti zviite mutsindo. Vamoyo mamuka seiko ku Australia.
Tamuka maswera seweni.
Aiwa isusu tamboswera vamoyo. It's always good to have you on the show here. And I'm told you did a great job whilst I was away.
Oh, thank you. I didn't think that
Ndimkoma GV3 oti Avamoyo was there and he was giving his opinions as ever.
Oh, thank you. I always think that since panyaya dzeeducation apa ndini the list, so ndechingotaurawo zvokungovhara magepu,
makagumira sabani.
Ndakangoita first term grade 2 sub B.
Okay, Aiwa, thank you. Vamoyo, the president has been in Durban today, and he was quoted actually saying that Zimbabwe is second only to South Africa when it comes to infrastructure and developed country in Africa. The question is, do you agree with His Excellency?
Yes. Okay. Unfortunately, yes.
No, it's not. It's not. Unfortunately, you don't have to say unfortunately. Give us your figures there. Why Zimbabwe is the second developed country in Africa?
Yeah, in the first place, it's a matter of my figures actually and actually, I mean, how are these figures collected, and what do they mean? So sometimes we can rely on figures, but which do not apply in certain situations. Like what Mkoma Benford was saying, the Zimbabwean setup does not fall within any other system of economic measurements because of the activities there. But the fact that it doesn't fall within that activity, it does not mean there is no economic activity. I mean, it doesn't mean that. And therefore, the figures that are being thrown around, they don't mean anything at all to the Zimbabwean economy. And when you talk
about infrastructure more, musataura economy.
Yeah, it depends on the infrastructure more to be. Not in Gabagati, it's developed. It is developed. So when you talk of development, what are we talking about? These are some of the major things.
Same clip. Mugabe what? Zimbabwe's infrastructure has got the second best developed infrastructure. Second to South Africa, only in Africa.
Yes. And
out economy, at infrastructure.
Neither did I say economy myself as well. I said when we talk of development, what are we talking about? And I haven't traveled to many African countries, but we do have lots and lots of Africans here. In fact, where I stay, it is near 2 universities, and the church that I go to, we have plenty. Africans are very religious. We have plenty of university students at various levels from various countries. We sit down in some of these forums and we discuss what is going on in their countries, the challenges they are facing, and everything else that is going on. Sometimes when you discuss with some of these people, we begin to appreciate what we have in Zimbabwe and who we are in Zimbabwe. Some of these people have been alluding to the drop in the educational standards of Zimbabwe. I'm not sure whether it is part of the development or not. But that assumption is actually part of the grand illusion that a lot of people have. If you talk to the majority of even students here, they are amazed by the performance and knowledge of their Zimbabwean counterparts that they have in universities. Then we have even the figures where we say Zimbabweans have the highest literacy rate. It did not come from Zimbabwe itself. It came from other people outside of Zimbabwe. But it only takes us Zimbabweans to deny that. And yet reality on the ground speaks for itself. I heard somebody saying Tendai Bid was the best Minister of Finance and he had surplus. And the reality on the ground is when we were going for the elections in 2013, Tendai Bid actually told the world that the Zimbabwean account had only $200. I'm not sure if that is surplus. He actually said there was no way he could fund the election because there was virtually no money in there. And we all know the money that funded the elections did not come from the Minister of Finance. It was Patrick Chinamasa who sourced that money from wherever. I mean, nobody knows from where, except even Bid himself knows where that money came from, because he eventually.
Vamoyo, I think takwenda off topic. So basically, what you're saying is that the president is spot on in saying that Zimbabwe is second only to South Africa when it comes to infrastructure and developed. It is the second developed country in Africa, and you agree with that?
Yes, it is true.
That's fine.
I even have one of a very close friend from Zambia. They used to come to Zimbabwe. You know, when the bank cards were plastic money was introduced, they actually had all their training to Zimbabwe. And in any case, before I even go far, I think in Southern Africa, if not in Africa, the actual country that was used as a pilot project for the plastic money was Zimbabwe, because of the development of the infrastructure it had, and even the skilled labor that it had. Zambians, the Zambian I was talking about, who actually told me that he was working for I think the Standard Chartered Bank in Zambia, and when they were introducing that, they actually had to do their training in Zimbabwe, looking at how the program was working in Zimbabwe. And yeah, in terms of development, yes, we are. But the utilization of the infrastructure is a different story altogether.
It's a different story altogether. Okay, thank you so much, Mkomongo. This GDP and level of development are not always the same. You could have the best infrastructure, but if you devalue your currency overnight, your GDP can fall. So GDP figures are not always a good measure. This one is saying that it is puzzling that the second developed country in Africa has got no cash whatsoever. Thank you so much, DJ, for the show. Right. Our time is running out. Anyone with a burning question that you want to, shoot there?
DJ, can I just add another point on that, on what Mugabe said there?
Yes.
I think the other point that he made also was that if we say Zimbabwe is fragile, then America is also fragile. This is the kind of mentality that we see all along with.
Yeah, but in America, I can go to the bank and take my money. I don't have to sleep on the cash point.
Exactly. But as far as Mugabe is concerned, as long as there is even one single homeless person in America, then Zimbabwe's homeless and poor are in the same boat. So he can continue doing what he's doing, spending millions of dollars going to Singapore for his medical treatment, whilst Parenyatwa Hospital itself cannot even carry out some of the most basic operations. and his children are going to university outside the country, and Moyo is telling us the education system is one of the best, and yet all the big chefs who can afford it are sending their children outside the country.
Yeah, but vamoyo vari kutaura kuti vanoita marisearch avo vane vanhu maAmericans maAfricans akawanda vanoenda navo kuchechi and all that. They tell them that Zimbabwe is developed.
Yeah, but people vote with their legs. You know, anyone who can afford it is sending their child outside Zimbabwe to do their university studies. Moyo should know that there are many Zimbabweans in Australia studying there, and the money they are spending there, some of it is because their parents are rich and they can afford it, and those poor people who can't afford it, their children are going to Nana Chinoi University, which is so poorly funded to the point where the quality of education has definitely gone down. You know, and you speak to some of the university lecturers, they will tell you, Kuti, we don't have books, we don't have computers, we don't have this in this day and age. How can they compete with somebody who has got all those facilities?
And I think
Australia, the university there, you should visit some of the university there and then go to Zimbabwe and see what is happening at UZ.
Okay.
You know, instead of trying to lie to us here and try to pretend that he knows better because he is son of PF.
Okay.
Yes, and you find that the measure of how developed the country is seen by how many poor people, okay? The ratio of poor people within the populace. And then Zimbabwe at the moment stands at 73% of the population live under poverty data line.
Poverty line, yes.
Which is Southern Africa. So that is only 3 million people have got $1 in their pocket out of 13 million. And that cannot be a measure of a well-developed country or a country that is being reflected by Robert Mugabe.
Vamoyo, you want to counteract that?
Can I come in and make a comment here?
What do you use to tell that this person has $1 in his pocket? How do you come to that? How do you establish that?
Hello, is that Moyo?
Yes.
Yes,
of course.
Yeah, okay.
Of course.
Moyo, I know that you are a person of self-contradiction. Firstly, you said my figures, we need to be aware that my figures are come from outside, right? And you attacked that. But you were also the first person to say that Zimbabweans, they are the most literate country. You said it was not said by Zimbabwe. It was said from outside by UNESCO, right? A self-contradiction. Zimbabwe is highly literate. I think that nobody disputes that. And who did?
Did you hear the question?
That is the UNESCO.
Did you hear my question?
So what?
Did you hear my?
Yes. So what I'm saying? I'm lying. Can I just answer you? All that I'm lying. The figures that we are talking about originate and are generated by the government. Every nation, every government have to submit an annual figures to the UN, respective bodies of the UN. And it is at that level of data crunching that every country is audited. So these figures are not arbitrary figures placated from the air. These are figures submitted by ZANU-PF. So this is a reality on the ground.
I think finance, whatever, you must be well aware of how these figures are calculated. Most of the time, I agree with Amoyo, they don't include the informal sector. You describe someone $1, but if that person can earn 80 or 100, is that put into that calculation? Can you say that person is poor simply because the tangible current?
I I understand. When we talk about aggregate, it takes into consideration all that. Because it is the state, it is the government of that country that actually add up and submit aggregate in respect to the population.
No. Let me explain one thing. Chamapa you read my figures. Amangam City, Zambia is about 28 billion. Zimbabwe, Irishi.
Yeah.
Now, those figures, how they are calculated, it does not take into cognizance how distributed among the people.
Hang on. Right. Let us understand that within a global perspective of economy, there must be at least a measure that is applicable across the entire world. Do you agree?
No.
Yes, but that also presents
No. I'm saying Zimbabwe, right? Zimbabwe is not the only country with an informal sector. Is that? Am I right there?
No. Our case is unique. The Zimbabwe economy.
Why? Unique because they are poor. Is that what you are saying? Yeah, but because that's what you are telling me. If you are saying you are unique in Southern Africa, what is uniqueness about Zimbabwe other than the poverty? There's no poverty.
Unique does not mean poor.
Hang on. How come Zimbabwe alone is unique in the whole lot of Africa out of 54 countries?
Yes, it is unique in that the way we do our things is different from anyone else.
Because of poverty.
This is what you are saying. Okay, let me give you my own typical example. And let's look at just one individual. And it. Sorry. Chiango mchazotuza nezvake imini inenge kuti wangu the individual.
Okay.
We have one. Let me direct you to one member of parliament, Anonzi Chinotimba.
Yeah.
Chinotimba, he planted 100 hectares of land last season. Ndokudyara maize. Adyara maize, his yield he is projecting to have 500 tons of maize from there, which he is going to sell to the grain marketing board. If this man sells this grain at say $30 a kg, how much is he going to get? Is he a poor man? Because he has the maize. Is there.
Yeah, but there's no money in the bank, my brother. There's no money for him. There's no money in the bank for him.
That is a different story. It becomes a different story. But what I'm saying is he poor? Is he
no,
poor?
No. Moyo, can I come in there? You know, Timba he's not regarded as poor, and whatever the yield coming from the soil, he actually not or any other that is added to the aggregate wealth of the country. You get what I'm saying?
No. Is it part of what has been added to the aggregate?
No, what I'm saying is, if it's something that has not been sold and has not been accounted by the government of Zimbabwe, right?
Yeah.
And normally these figures, on a cut-off point, my figures are 2016, okay?
Yeah.
On a cut-off point, 2016, right?
Yeah.
Then take into consideration kanapane zvimwe zviri mumindawo 2017 zvisati zvaitwa monetize is not part of these figures, right? They will be part of these figures once the government of Zimbabwe do an aggregate.
In fact, what I'm seeing is Zimbabweans, we are so bookish that we become hopeless at the end of the day. I mean, we are so stuck in the books. We are so stuck in theories.
Hang on. These measures are not for Zimbabwe. These measures are not for Zimbabwe. These measures are for 229 countries. And Zimbabwe is not unique. This is a measure globally. And why are we placating ourselves from the global perspective of the measure of economy?
Okay, but if we are as poor as you are trying to portray, how come that the majority of the people are trying to emulate the Zimbabwean way of doing things?
Which one? Of informal sector? Of 95% unemployment?
Yes.
Which country is emulating Zimbabwe? Which country want 95% unemployment? Tell me.
With no airline running.
With no airline, yes. With no airline running, with no water running, with
who wants to emulate that?
Yeah, no cash in the banks. No cash in the banks.
Can I just say something?
And we're 93 years old.
Can I just say something?
You were in Zimbabwe a short while ago and you are back. I'm sure you didn't walk to Zimbabwe from where you are.
Yeah, no, ndakakwira ndege dzimwe nyika. But I would have loved to go on air Zimbabwe.
Ndege dziri kufly in and out, and did it?
Yes.
Yeah. So ndege dziri kufly in and out. That is what counts. In fact, you actually saying Zambia is better than us. Zambia in my airlines there.
I didn't say Zambia is better than us. I didn't say that.
Well, it's not that. Yes, I say that. Those are empirical figures, and that is correct. It's not only about airline, right?
Okay. If it's not only about airline, why did you introduce the airline then into the discussion?
No. We were actually auditing in terms of cash, without a cash. We talked about without a cash. We talked about without employment, 95%. We were adding up. That's what I'm saying. Within Zimbabwe, we used to have our own airline, a tradition of carrying, which was one of the best in Africa.
It's still the best anyway.
Can I just say something there, DJ?
Yes, come a little bit.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, I think here we have got a problem with people like Moyo. I honestly think any Zimbabweans who are listening out there, particularly those at home who are unemployed, to be told the rest of the world is trying to emulate Zimbabwe when they have been unemployed for the last 10 years. I honestly think it's totally disrespectful of them. And I think we should not abuse other people just because Moyo is comfortable and he supports ZANU-PF. No. I think this is what some people should understand. Yes. I don't know whether, Jay, when you were in Zimbabwe, you saw this recording of Thomas Mafuma.
That's what I was just about to say.
Yeah, and I think Thomas Mafuma actually did the right thing. Some of these ZANU-PF apologies, they've been insulting the ordinary Zimbabweans for the last 37 years. I think it's about time we really put our foot down and say, listen, you cannot keep on denying the reality out there. Who do you seriously believe would go to university so that they can come back and start selling airtime on the street for 10 years? Why you live in Nkiri, Zimbabwe, to go to Australia? Now you are comfortable in Australia. You want to start praising what is happening in Zimbabwe.
Yes, Mukoma Wilbert I mean, I saw that recording. I was in Zimbabwe and, with lots of connections, it was sent to my phone and I listened to it. And it just reminded me of this show, basically, when that happened. And when I was in Zimbabwe, looking at people, ndarara nenzara and andina kana chekubata basa ndarakapera and all that. You look at those people, for them to be told that actually the rest of the world want to emulate what you guys have here in Zimbabwe, honestly, emotionally, you are abusing them. I mean, I'm not them, but looking at them, someone who have not been working, a working age, a working age, akabudabasa, and now you can't get a job. Kana usina munhu waunoziya ku Zimbabwe wechoko muhomwe wokuti ningongu apinde basa. And for someone to come on the show and say, actually, most countries in Africa wants to emulate what is the situation in Zimbabwe is, where people are sleeping on the cash point, trying to withdraw a $10 to go and get a loaf of bread. I find it extraordinary, but anyhow, that's life. That's reality. Some people find it that way.
I think DJ Sodza, there's also the other side of Zimbabwe that we are not emphasizing here. We speak as if kana tiri kuno ku diaspora, it means all things zvakanaka. There are guys vari kuZimbabwe vatakasiya vasina kana kupedza ma-O levels, but vakapinda ma-projects ana tobacco ivaya vane dzimba dzokuti isu kuno we are staying muma 2 bedrooms, yet vakavakisa madzimba. So there's also positive things that is happening in Zimbabwe. Let's not miss that. That is what there is also positive in Zimbabwe. One problem that Zimbabweans, we are always we cannot argue about the education quality of Zimbabwe. That is something that we should be proud of as Zimbabweans, and something that we should be promoting on this show, that we are amongst the most educated people in Africa. It should never be a negative.
Yeah, but
Mkoma Belford, when you talk like that, like I said, I associate with quite a number of people from other countries here. Some of the countries are notorious for certain activities. But when you are within those people, you can never mention kunyika kwenye muri corrupt. Sometimes you get amazed by the way they unite and defend their country. So far, the only bunch of people I have come across who are so passionate about self-denigration are Zimbabweans. So far.
Okay.
These are the only people I have found. Okay. But every other nationality that I have come across, many of them definitely, many of them, others even from war-torn countries, they defend their country. That is their first and primary objective, to defend their country. And in any case, these people here can actually try and throw brickbats at me and do and whatever, but the actual arbiters of what is happening in Zimbabwe will be talking next year. When they are given the chance to talk, they will talk and you will hear their voice. This is definite.
Okay.
Whatever opinion you may have about me, it's up to you. You can have any opinion. But remember,
Moyo, that is again another point. We have been talking here about how ZANU-PF has been rigging elections. And you keep talking about people in Zimbabwe will have a chance to say, they have a political say. How can they do that when elections are being rigged?
I honestly feel your name must now change to Rigio. I think that is supposed to be your new name now. Because
are you saying Mugabe doesn't rig elections?
Yes, those people in Zimbabwe, they know who they voted for and they know what happened to their vote.
Are you saying Mugabe
if your vote was rigged?
No, answer the question. Are you saying Mugabe does not rig elections?
No, he doesn't. I have never seen the evidence. You people have never given us the evidence. And the evidence of mutating ballot boxes where initially it was for Tsvangirai and then the ballpoint, the pen eventually changed when it was on his
okay. All right.
Nonsense.
All right, guys. Panamkoma warundi nyorera pana hanzi to supporter Chelsea. Congratulations Mkoma on winning the Premier League. Kwanzi DJ Tero vamoyo kuti ku Zimbabwe kune vanhu vane ma 35 years vasina 35-year-old asina kumboita chinhu chinonzi payslip because hakuna mabasa but akadzidza zvekudzidza zviya. Anyway, thank you so much for your contribution.
How is he surviving?
Yeah, no, that's fine. Thank you so much. No, we are not going into that. Thank you so much. Right. Anyway, Sekuru.
Don't raise
Batayomon. Sekuru. Seguru, are you still there?
My God,
sekuru vanenge vadzokera kwagutu. Anyway, zvisinei Zimbabwe ndozvo zvinoita 6 minutes after midnight. Our show is finished 6 minutes ago, so we shall call it a day. You know, they always tell me, if you haven't got anything good to say, it's better to shut your mouth. Saka inini, I haven't got anything good to say after this, so I'm gonna shut my mouth, and then tuenderera mberi nechirongwa next week same time. My thanks kuna Sekuru Sali, Vapepe, Vamoyo, Mkoma Benford, Mkoma Wilbert, nevamwe wa contributor kusaidu, and also you guys who have been listening all the way. Thank you so much for your listenership there. Cool. So I'm going to futhi ndawapika. Zvakoma manzi tell him kuti vanotengesa airtime. Manzi tell him kuti vanotengesa airtime. Ameno mubvunza wamama bvunza wamoyo. Wapedza mamuri kuti kudi?
Ndati mune mabasa wa DJ.
Inda.
Na moyo.
It's unbelievable kuti mungati there are countries that want to emulate Zimbabwe. I don't know. Maybe I'm living in another world. I don't know. That I don't know about that.
That's arrogant.
I don't know about that, honestly. I don't feel proud kuti ndigare mukantri mekuti you can't go to the bank to get a 10 cents and someone want to emulate that. That is appalling. But anyhow, I'm told that there are some good things.
Appalling is different. Appalling is
right. All my countries go through my phases and certain challenges. But it does not necessarily mean that the mulkita is right. If you look at the land reform, those people, they are in a better situation than probably a lot of people are in diaspora.
These people have been claiming that will be a big deal to guide the people to vote for them. You remember them saying that? Hello?
Right. Okay, guys.
All right.
Sodza, welcome back.
Chirongwa tapedza guys. Thank you so much Mgoma. Ita kufona chirongwa tapedza.
Wakomana ndatinonoke haiona. Sorry.
You see, madhara atoenda kamanje.
Watoendera wakomana.
Chirongwa chapera zvemukoma. Mamuruda kuti kudii kuona asi mimi pachirongwa.
Aiwa indanda ngotaura kuti kuZimbabwe kune nhamo.
Apparently, a lot of countries want to emulate what is happening in Zimbabwe. I'm told here. I'm flabbergasted with it, but anyhow, that's democracy for you then.
Unokwanisa uri panext door uchiona baba panext door zvavo zviri kuita kunga zviri kufamba but hauzivi kuti vari kumbozvifambisa sei kuti zvifambe.
Okay.
saka hawaziwiwo direction yedu, but isusu tinoiziva and tinoziva nhamo iri muZimbabwe. So anyway, to keep it short, muZimbabwe tiri kutambura, vanhu veZimbabwe tatambura, whether uri muZimbabwe kana mudiaspora. Saka zvekuda kuti tinoita zvinhu zvakasiyana, we are different, hapana umbosiyana kwatakaita nemamwe maAfrican countries. It's just a matter of accepting our status quo and fixing it. Nyaya yekuita uda kungoisa mabhandeji pachironda chiri kupora haichashandi.
Aha, aiwa. Zvinofadza chose mukoma matauriro amuri kuita. Inini zvandishamisa kuti kunganzi kune vanhu vada kuemulate zvinhu zviri kuitika kuZimbabwe. Maybe there are people out there who genuinely think that. But I mean, if I was envious of what's happening there, I would. Would you be in America?
Even waka-emulator haoga, but the fact of the matter is, what's the most important thing is, isusu maZimbabweans pachedu, we are not happy with the status quo. Hatikufara nezvikuitika munyika medu, and isusu toda kuti zvichinje.
Yeah, but obviously there are some people there that are very happy. When I'm called Benford Mataurira warikuita, they are very happy.
They are very happy. Anditi matobacco farmers, anditi waswera vari kudzingirirwa uchirwa nema-button stick.
Yeah, but what surprised me is these people are happy, but they are living in exile. Why are they not back home? I mean, this question has been asked. It might be a daft question, but it puzzles me that these people come here and say, Kutanzi, everything is fine there, and my country is mazhinji anotoda kutoita fanika unge zvikuitwa nekuZimbabwe because it's so good there, and what not. So you ask these people, so why are you not there? You go there, there's no cash. I mean, this is a simple thing for me. I can't withdraw $10. That is appalling from my point of view.
Right. You know, TJ Sodza, I just sent money home last week for an emergency. You know, my parents they wakaenda mabank ese.
Hakuna.
Atina cash.
No.
Wakazoenda kune rimwe bank so. Zvikava zvanzi nemfesi uya. Well, zvikava zvanzi nemfesi. But she mari yamuruda tomboti example 300 yamuruda iyi ndikangobata ka20 ndokwanisa kupa iri 380 and I can make it happen.
Yes.
Saka ne-desperation maparents angobva watoti tingaite sei zvinhu zvacho zvida kutoitwa like today pautosiya ka20 kayake but ndo pawazopiwa 380 saka patone fee yekuti uwane mari yako.
Absolutely.
You know, so zvinhu zvacho hazvina kutombomira mushe and munhu anotaura ari kunoku ka akutaura usingazivi